The darkness made you watch your girlfriend's murder. Your first meaningful act as its host was one of submission.
Hi there, I'm Tim Weaver from CMBG, and I'm here with Andy Hartup, Associate Editor on Xbox World.
Hi there.
How you doing, Andy?
I'm good, thanks, yeah.
You reviewed The Darkness 2, which is what we're looking at today, and I think you thought it was pretty good.
I really enjoyed it, yeah. I mean, I was a big fan of the first Darkness, played it through to completion, really enjoyed the story. And The Darkness 2 I was a little bit dubious about when I started playing it because it is very different. I mean, this is a pure shooter. There's none of the sort of slow-paced, exploring the area story bits. This is all action. This is all, you know, murdering people as horrifically as you can. And
yeah.
but that's not to say, you know, the story lacks any sort of subtlety, as you find out as you play through.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the story a little bit in a little while, but I mean, I think, would it be fair to say we were a little bit sceptical about digital extremes making out? I mean, not that we've got any agenda against digital extremes, we just want to point, but I mean, their history is making solid but fairly unspectacular games.
I think that's fair. Yeah, they're sort of 7 out of 10 Kings previously, but no, they've done a great job on this, and you know, one of the things that has impressed me the most about it is the way it looks. I think, you know, to do this sort of thing and try and make it sort of photorealistic, or that sort of gamey photorealistic, would have been a big mistake. But you know, they've given it a nice sort of graphic novel art style, and that really works for the game. So
yeah, I mean,
impressive.
It does look really nice, and I guess it probably has allowed them to be as gratuitously violent as they have.
Oh yeah,
the comic book style. Because I mean, if this was photorealistic, it would probably be all over the Daily Mail.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, that's a happy sort of happy consequence of them doing it as they have. And it is violent. I have to say, it's probably one of the most violent games I've ever played. As you can probably tell by watching this footage here, like you just saw Jackie Estacado, who's the main guy, rip out a man's spine through his back.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how it rates on your violenceometer.
It's up there. It's at least a 9 on my violenceometer.
On your patented violenceometer. I mean, tell us about some of the executions in the game.
Some of the executions. Well, you saw the spine room there. That's pretty nasty. It's worth pointing out all the executions give you various benefits, and you unlock them as you play through. You can unlock new executions. Some of them sort of gain you a bit more health. Other ones gain you a bit more ammo, or give you a darkness shield, things like that. They are nasty. There's one where he sticks his tentacle down a man's throat. There's another one where he sort of slashes a man in half and then slashes him in half again. There's a really horrific one called the Assecution, which I don't even know if I want to talk about it now, because it's horrible.
Yeah, tell us a bit about the Darkling, because that had you were a bit undecided about
that? No, I don't like the Darkling. I mean, in the first game you could call up different Darklings to sort of help you out in combat. This time you've only got one, and he's a constant. And essentially he's like almost like another sort of special move you've got. You can pick him up, you can chuck him at enemies, he sort of annoys them a little bit. He's just a bit of an arse, really. I mean, he's got this awful Cockney accent, and you know, his dialogue's really it's just sort of cliched nonsense. He's really pretty much the only sort of gameplay and character misstep in the whole game, I think.
Yeah, because I mean, I was going to say to you, otherwise, as you alluded to earlier, the story really, surprisingly perhaps, is really good.
Yeah, you start off and it feels a lot like they're dining out on the previous Darkness, because obviously there's a lot of mention of Jenny, who's the girlfriend who dies in the last Darkness. And the thing about the first Darkness game was a really emotional connection with her, and it was really shocking when she dies. And in this, you start to feel, oh yeah, they're just dining out on that relationship, and it's all a bit cheap. But as you go through, certain things happen in the game, which I won't spoil for you, that gives the Darkness 2 a plausible story in its own right, while maintaining that heart that the original Darkness had.
Yeah. So just finally, how do you think Starbreeze's approach, Digital Extremes' approach, is different to Starbreeze? What have they done perhaps better, not quite as well?
What they've done better is the combat. I mean, you know, as good a game as the first Darkness was, the combat was poor. With this, the guns feel meaty. Your tentacle attacks are easy to understand, and they are really brutal. The health system's fairly simple. It's a really sort of meaty, fun shooter to play. That's what they've done well. No, the story isn't original, and yeah, you know, it's not quite as crafted in that way, but you know, Digital Extremes have done a cracking job with it.
Jackie!